Alright, Hpil. So on this stock, it definitely has some potential for the future. Right now, it's been trading at a pretty good buy-in rate compared to where it was. If you take a look at it in 07 and if you look at 2014, it's been running on like a 7-year cycle where now we're in 2021. First it was June, then it was August. So you might see this one start to pop up here in September, October. So with this year coming, I think before it was ahead of its curve and what cybernetic technologies was doing, they definitely had a good concept going for them. And if you look at the potential, if you're looking at a long-term gain, so maybe you're looking at 7 years out from now, 2028, maybe you're going to get back to some pretty high levels. Maybe it's not going to happen this year. But you can't determine when anything breaks out in the market tree. And it comes down to some things like this where even on a small slide gain, you could definitely see this with inflation this year. Even if you look at 2.5% this year, 2.5% next year, and you start to look at a 5% gain as far as where things are going to go with inflation, you could have an inflation rise with this where as it continues to grow, you could have a 3 times yield by 2022. And even a little higher going through the end of 2022, and then you head into 2023. So buying into something like this now, where it's definitely has the intake coming into it. One of the things I look at though on this is it has a high beta. So it has a very transparent, they're very up to date, and it shows a lot of volatility that as things come in, it might get quiet about this stock, it might drop down, you might get spoken of a lot, things come out, it might shoot up. When you look at the range on it, at least I think for the 52 week, it can definitely get back to that 0.11 mark, but it might take, through September, October, November, but I think by December, you're definitely going to be seeing this back up to where it should be. I think it's an undervalued stock. I think it definitely has potential in it. With cybernetic technologies, I found this on them where they're showing that they got in with a top tier security firm. That adds to them a lot. I think that their CEO does a pretty good job at keeping that beta going where they're being very transparent with what they're saying is coming out. One of the big things I see with them is as you read through this, if you pause the video and read it, you can come into this one and you can pause this video again and read this for yourself. And with this, when you're looking at some of the stuff that they're doing, they're definitely touching with today's age of where we are with technologies and the interface. So one of the things it says in here is the metadata analysis, the project that we hope to change how the internet and the human thought process could change its purchasing decisions. So with that, it definitely plays a key when you start looking at some of the things that they have where now, if you pause this again and you read this article, it will show where there's 10 partners that they have. So doing your due diligence and doing your research to check into who their partners are with this company and forward your own research and development and staying with that as the stock grows would be highly key if you do invest in this stock. They're another one that they're developing their own vehicle and their own 4-door. So if they have a or it might be a 2-door, but it's a 4-seater vehicle. So with this Apogee D7, it puts another vehicle line that's competing in that market tree. So when you're looking at EV market tree, it's definitely becoming a high demand, which brings me back to, if you're investing in some of these things, look at maybe where they're getting their mining stuff from, where they're getting different equipment from, because you're gonna, I think if you invest in one company and you solely believe in that company, you're gonna want to invest in the other companies that are giving them the resources they need for the minerals and the mining and the stuff that goes into their batteries and so on, or their material and their steel. So I think really doing your due diligence as far as really checking into your research on these products. And with this one, like I said, it's definitely one where it's on a nice trend uphill, and it might have a small little valley downhill after it goes up, but it comes right back to, it keeps its valleys raising. You're not seeing the valleys drop. You're seeing a nice little valley, and then it peaks, and then it comes back down, but the valley is never below the last valley. It's always